What's up friends, Chook here, and welcome back to Bit Heroes. Alright, it is Thursday, which means it's capture rate day. Even though we have the 100% item find, we still have 50% capture rate here, and you know, it is going on with our weekly, regular Bit Heroes capture day series, so we're going to do it. A few things to note before we get started is, we have some set items, finally. So last week, 2 weeks ago actually, I did a 27 raid 5 heroic with super scroll on, and ended up getting two discordant power, the set offhand. I traded one in and got the necklace, and then on last Sunday just gone, I was just doing raid 5 like normal and ended up getting the ring. So we have 3 of the 4. Now I don't actually particularly need or want the 4th, which is the weapon. I've been thinking about it because if you look at the actual set pieces, right, 2 increases your chance to absorb attacks by 2, great. Gain full shields the first time you drop below 50% health, great. Gain 15% damage reduction while shielded, that's good, but it's particularly good as a tank, right? Getting the 2% chance to absorb attacks just flat out is good, and getting shields is good. The damage reduction while shielded, I mean, we're DPS, so we don't really have like much health to start with. So I would like to get Comet Fall if I could, which is the mythic sword that has quad strike on it. If not, we'll just go with this. Otherwise, you know, if we get it, then we'll use it maybe. But we've got the 3 that I wanted, so that is good. We're only one legendary. If I exchange one legendary to get the parts I need, I'll show you. We're at 152, we need 180. So one more legendary that I can exchange, I can then upgrade this one more time, which would be awesome. And yeah, so that's where we're up to at the moment, with gear at least. Let's change our runes to the old capture rate. There we go. And let's get stuck into some raid 1. All the way back to raid 1. Looking for that son of a bitch Oxla. So here we go. Last week we saw only 1 of him. The week before we saw 2 of him. So if you're going on that kind of pattern, then today we'll see none of him. But hopefully it goes the other way. So it'll go 2, 1, and then today we'll see like 3 or 4. Or just 1 and capture him. That would be ideal, right? Then we can move on. But he's a son of a bitch. It doesn't show up very often. And yeah, with the 0.1% capture rate, I mean, goddamn. So I have had a subscriber. Because I speak to a lot of you, I can never remember off the top of my head who you are, like what your username is. But I remember having to chat to you at least. That you caught the raid 4 robot dude, X4 Goomba or whatever the hell his name is. With gold. You didn't have the gems to do so, so you just threw gold at him and you got him. So that's super lucky. Congrats on that, because that's pretty good. Alright, well, we've got a shade already to wanting to join us. We've already got 2 of him. See if we get a 3rd. And we don't. Okay, so that's a fail out of the way. That means when Oxla comes up, that he will come up for persuasion. I mean, we're not going to use gold and risk it. We're going to use the gems anyway. But at least the failure is out of sight, and we can move on to successes. So as I've mentioned, I don't really need any other fans in here, including Astaroth. I have 2 of him, so I think I have at least 2 of every other familiar in this raid. The Shade, Ragnar, and Squib. I have at least 2 of them, and Astaroth I have 2. So it's just the Oxla we're after. But of course I will stockpile them if the opportunity comes to persuade them. I'll throw some gold at it. Why not? I've got how much? 5.28 million. I think I can afford like a couple of thousand. Okay. Well, we completed a bounty without really trying or wanting to. So that's good. Let's just tick that off. Complete 3 dungeons. Done. What else have we got? 20 opponents in PvP, won't be doing that. Heroic dungeons, won't be doing that. And 1 dungeon solo, won't be doing that. In this video at least. So let's go with round 2. So just as a reminder, once we get the Oxla, we can fuse Oxelroth, which is awesome. And then we will go to raid 3 and raid 4. So raid 3 we need the boss, the captain, whatever his name is, Woodbeard. And then from raid 4 we need that X4 Goomba or whatever the hell its name is, the little, the robot Oxla, effectively. So yeah, there's a bit to go, but getting Oxla would be cool. I would, Oxroth, I should say, would be good. I'm also working towards Meaty. So in last week's Sunday item find video, we did get the Meaty schematic, and I'm working on getting the Hobbit feet for that. I think I need about 12 more Hobbit feet, so, you know, it's a bit, but it's not too much. I have all the familiars I need for it. I just need the Hobbit feet. So you end up needing 45 Hobbit feet for Meaty, as well as 2 Ragnars and a Velk, whatever goes into making Velk. So it's a fair bit to fuse one dude. But the Hobbit feet, I don't know, they seem like the most time-consuming thing, right? Because World Boss is energy-based, so, I mean, if you had a heap of energy, or you had energy shards, or, you know, the energy potions from your honor, or whatever, then you could knock out a heap of World Bosses, I guess, and potentially get some Hobbit feet. But, you know, they don't drop very regularly, it seems. So stockpiling 45 of them does take some time. And I think when I made Torlag, no, Yorlag, sorry, I think he needed 60. So yeah, between Yorlag and Meaty, it's like over 100 Hobbit feet. So, and that's all the Hobbit feet I've ever had. Whoops. Yeah, so it takes a while. Definitely takes a while. Actually, let's double check that, right? We'll have a quick look. If we go to fusions, we go down to Meaty. That's Torlag. Here it is, Meaty. So we need a Garrick, 2 Garricks, and 1 Velk. They're 10 Hobbit feet each, so that's 10, 20, 30, and then another 15, so 45. And I've got 36, so, oh, I only need 9. There you go. That's not bad. That's better than I thought, actually. So 9, and then we will fuse a Meaty. And I'll make sure, I'll try my best to fuse that on camera as well for you guys. Not that, you know, fusing something is something to be really seen, but I may as well do it on camera and on, you know, one of my videos for the week. The same with Oxla when we finally get the Oxla. So I was planning to do, like, if you remember back probably a month ago now. Whoa. I don't know if you can hear that, but it just started absolutely pissing down. It might even be hail. Just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's just started raining really, really, really badly. Really heavily, I should say. I love rain, so that's good. Anyway, about a month ago, I was going to fuse Oxla. Well, I was, providing I got the Oxla, which I didn't, obviously. I was going to try and fuse Oxla, Roth, Remoraid, and Welcome all in the same video. And see people's reactions and stuff, but we just could never get the Oxla, so I ended up doing the 2 healers. And that was fine. But, yeah, this dude is elusive, that's for sure. So far it is going down the, what's the word? Well, we had 2 the previous week, and then we had 1 last week, and at the moment we haven't seen 1. So, whatever word that is. Series? It's eluding me what the word is. I think I said it before, too. Okay, definitely not 1 in this raid, so hopefully we can get 1 in the next one. So even though I'm effectively wasting raid shards on raid 1 at the moment, you know, it's still useful. We're still getting gold, even though we don't really need it. But we, you know, occasionally we will get an epic or something. We could break down for epic material. We will get gems in here. So you know, even though you're doing a far less profitable as far as gear goes raid. You know, if you need the Oxla, this is the only place to get it. or if you need Astaroth or Squib or whatever it be, you know, this is the only place to get it. So if you really, really want those familiars, and that's your, like, main thing you're after, then you can't get anywhere else. That this is, you know, you have to do it. But at least you kind of get, like, consolation prizes, right? So you get gold and gems and whatever else. So, you know, even though you're not doing what you really, really, really want to be doing as far as gear goes, you are getting some form of benefit. It's not like you're just wasting it for absolutely nothing. You're just wasting it for almost nothing. But that almost, you know, at least it gives you something, right? So I need to have a look at what else I can fuse with these Ragnars and Shades and all the rest of it. I know the Ragnars go into Garrick, and he's in both Yorlag and Meaty, as I was just talking about before. So I could stockpile him and try and maybe eventually one day do a I think he might be in Walkham as well. I can't remember. To do a stable of those guys. Squib, I think the only thing I've ever seen Squib is for Squibbo. So I could use that to fusion and stable a Wembo, which would be good. And then Shade, I think he goes into with the Lord Cerulean or whatever to I think he ends up being Remoraid, I think. And let's just decline that because they're going to have to leave a message on YouTube for me to put them on the list, waiting list. Yeah, I think Shade only goes into Remoraid as far as legendary familiars goes, at least fusions, which I'm not too fussed about stabling Remoraid. I mean, I'd much rather stable Walkham or you know, Wembo or something. So so I should probably look into that. I know the only thing I need to stable another Walkham is I need a Wardy, which is, you know, whatever, it's just a boss from a dungeon that won't be too hard to get. But I need another Driffin. And there's nothing else in Raid 2 that I particularly need. So I'd rather go for Raid 3 and 4 to get what I need for the Mythic Fusion. The Captain Woodbeard and X4 whatever his face is, or X whatever his face is. So I think stabling Walkham will be a later down the track thing. So I might actually look at, now that I've got a couple of squibs, I might take a look at what it is, what I need to fuse a few more Wembos and stable them. Because the squibs are just sitting there doing nothing, so I may as well use them. And at this level, like the bonuses to at level, what am I, nearly 260, the bonuses to stabling, you know, they're fairly decent. So when we get out here, maybe I'll have a look at, you know, what bonus we get for stabling something. And it's probably like 50 TS or something, maybe more. So, you know, you do a couple of them and all of a sudden your Wembo's, you know, a fair bit heftier than what it was. And Wembo's still really good. I actually alternate between him and Walkham. Because sometimes on auto, Walkham he doesn't use his heal, he uses his attack instead. And sometimes it can be a little bit annoying. So if we go to stable, and we stable oops. If we go to, where is he? Are you sure you want to put Wembo in your stable? Does it? There you go. 26 and 16, that's the 42.53, if my maths is right. So, you know, that's a fair bit, considering. But, you know, it's not my current #1 objective. It'll just be something I might do in the background, you know, if I have the appropriate fams and stuff. Oh, the one shot. So hopefully he shows his face soon. As I've mentioned before, at least if we see him in the video, we can call that, I don't know, satisfied, I guess. that at least he showed up, you know? Even if we don't get him, at least it's like we had a chance of getting him. If we do 7 raids and he doesn't even show up, then that's a bit of a kick in the nuts. At the moment, it's looking that way, but we still have a few raids to go, so, you know, gotta be positive and stuff. Even though this game makes it incredibly hard to be positive sometimes with the RNG. And every time I see the shade out of the corner of my eye, I think it's him, because it's red. But then it ends up just being this flying bitch instead. And it's always disappointing. So a few of you have actually told me that you've caught and you know, either persuaded or bribed, and you've got yourselves some Oxla. Like a few of you have got an Oxla, just to rub it in, which is nice. So yeah, I mean, if you can get a Astaroth as well, get a pretty good tank on early game, pretty good, 40% block chance. Like that's a lot of mitigation. Doesn't have quite as high HP as some of the other tanks, but with 40% block, like you're nearly blocking half the time. But I never really focused on Oxlaroth early on because of this reason. Like I didn't want to waste all of my raid shards doing raid 1 when I was in raid 3 or whatever it was, even though I had 2 Astaroths. You know, I didn't want to go back and I wanted to get gear and level up and progress and all that sort of stuff. So now that I'm at endgame and I am just doing R5 heroic over and over and over, that's when I use this Thursday. So that's what I recommend doing, at least. You know, if you're in raid 2 or something and you don't want any of the familiars in there at the moment, you could always go back to raid 1 instead. Until you get to raid 3 or something. But yeah, I don't recommend, super recommend at least, going back to earlier raids for things until you kind of get to the end game and you can afford to do it. But it's all preference, right? There we go, 3 gems. Woo. It's all what you want to do. Yeah, there is no right answer. It's just preference. Because I've kind of focused on familiars fairly, like, decently at least. I wouldn't say they were my #1 dedication in this game. Like in World of Warcraft, my whole thing that I haven't played WoW in, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years now. But when I did, it was all about mounts. My whole gaming thing was like, yeah, I'll do raids and you know, all that stuff, and that was fun. But I just loved collecting mounts, and I had 200 or something, or nearly 200 mounts, so that was my thing, and I just enjoyed doing it. Some people in this game just love catching fams and fusing like epic, legendary, mythic familiars and stuff, and that's awesome. And some people don't give a fuck about familiars and just try and get, you know, all the mythics and set pieces and stuff that they can. And that's also awesome. So I kind of have done a mix, right? Because the familiars, like for PvP and Trials and Gauntlet, will help, clearly. But as far as like gearing up and doing raids and stuff, they're not going to help you at all. So it's kind of, you know, I don't know. It's like, again, in WoW, people absolutely don't give a shit about anything to do with PvE, and they don't care about raids and dungeons and all that. They just like get max level, whatever it is, and then just PvP the whole time. And if that's what people love doing, then absolutely, why not? Either way, I think that was 7 raids. It was. That went fairly quickly. I did ramble a bit, but I tend to do that. You know, if I just sat here and did nothing, it said nothing while we were doing 7 raids, it would be a bit boring. But in the end, we did not see an Oxla, so then that was true. We went 2 the previous week, 1 last week, 0 this week, which means that we can't get worse than 0, so that means next week we'll see like 7, right? If we see 7, and again, we'll just decline that. If we see 7 next week, holy shit. And if we don't catch one, if we see 7 and don't catch one, I'll eat this wrapper. I probably won't do that, but if I don't know, if we see 7 of them, maybe I will. That's impressive amount. Either way, there we go. 7 runs, nothing. We did get a Shade, I think it was, to come and want to be our friend, but apparently we weren't cool enough, so that's sad. But we'll try again next week, as we will every week until we get him, and then we'll move on. Either way, hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.